All right. What did we get for our answer? A, B, C, or D?
B.
B is the correct answer. Okay? Here's how I did it. I read through the problem, and I said to myself, they spent $20 total. Okay? One-time shoe fee of $350. All right? So I wrote out an equation, and I did 20 is equal to 3.5 plus some number times x. Now, x in this case is the cost per game, okay, which is what we're trying to find. The other information that we had was I had to figure out the number of games, okay? And so I did, how did I do that? I did 2 hours and 15 minutes, okay, 45 minutes to bowl each game. 2 hours and 15 minutes is how many total minutes? 135 minutes. If you're doing, and so you had multiple rates here, 45 minutes per game. You divide those and you get 3. So that was 3 games. All right? And then I just solved that equation for x. All right? I subtract 3.5 from both sides, and I got 16.5 is equal to 5.5. Nope, sorry. Is equal to 3. X divide by 3, and so x is equal to 5.5, and that was the cost per game. Did anybody do it differently than how I did it?
You did the same thing, I just didn't lay it all out.
That's fine.
I added all of the minutes, so I did 60, 60, 15, and I got 135.
That's how I did it too.
And then, yeah, you divide it by 45.
Uh-huh.
3, and then you do 3 divided by
16.5. Yeah. This is how, and here's the difference. You know, when I'm just used to writing out equations. That way, for me, the reason why I do it, because I'm used to it, but the other thing is that it helps me see what I did. In the event that I need to go back, like if I look at this question, I'm like, I need to think about this for a second, I at least have like work written down on it so that I can go back, okay? All right, so give yourself either you got it right or you got it wrong, okay? And let's take a look at the next one. The answer is C. This one wasn't too bad. How many of you found the words per minute and just divided those two numbers? And then you multiplied it by 60?
I did it.
That's okay. I want to hear about it, okay? That's what I thought about first. 742 over 14, which is what? 742.
But I rounded mine, so then I got...
Wait, 742 divided by 14
It's 4.3.
is 53. That's 53 words per minute. And then you multiply it by minutes. And here's what I want you to think about. You know, when I do this, 53 words per 1 minute. If I multiply this by 60 minutes, because you're trying to find the number of words he would type in that hour, 60 minutes over 1 hour, this is unit conversion. Okay? If I take minutes and divide it by minutes, it divides out, just like anything. Then you take 53 times 60, and you get 3,180 words per hour. That's how I did it. Depending on what I'm typing, I can type, I haven't checked, but I can type pretty fast. What's interesting is that I type like I know how, I don't move my hands, or I don't look down. It's all just feeling. But all you guys like type so fast. You guys all have your own unique way of typing. It's pretty weird. The other way to do this is to set up a proportion. If you're typing 742 words in 14 minutes, what's the equivalent to that out of 60 minutes? And you could set that up. How'd you do it?
I divided 60 by 14. I got 4.3 rounded.
Uh-huh.
The long thing. And then since I rounded that, I got 3,190.6 because I rounded it up one.
Okay.
But then I realized that I rounded it, so then I had to go down one and close things. So I just chose C.
Interesting.
So it actually would have been.
But then you multiplied it by 742, right?
I did.
Because if you take 60 divided by 14
Then you get 4.3, and then you multiply that by 742.
by 742, okay.
But I got 3,190.6 because I rounded the 4.3
Right.
up one.
Yeah, if you operate with rounded numbers, it'll skew what you had. Okay, ooh. This one's interesting. All right. I set up proportions on this. So what you have, and this is just to kind of talk about it, when it tells you he wants the ratio of the triangle heights A to B and B to C to each equal 1.62, okay? So if you take A over B, take those lengths and divide them, you get 1.62. Similarly, you get, and I put this over 1, okay, so that I had a proportion. Okay, you could turn any number into a fraction by just putting it over 1. All right, it then says the same thing. B over C is also equal to 1.62 over 1. Now, what you know is that A is 8. So 8 over B is equal to 1.62 over 1. I set up that proportion. All I'm doing is substituting 8 in for A. So then from there, I can cross multiply and divide and figure out what B is. And then you get B times 1.62 is equal to 8 times 1, which is just 8. So yes, then what you do is you just divide by 1.62.
Okay, so that's just missing a step in there.
Well, but what you're doing, yeah, right, but you're doing the same thing. It's more of a why does it work type thing. Okay, so if I take 8 divided, and so then, you know, you get this number for B, what is it, like 4 point something? 4.9-ish. 8 divided by 1.62, 4.938. So B is equal to 4.938. Now, when I take this number here and plug it in down here, I get this. I'm going to do the same steps. 4.938 over C is equal to 1.62 over 1. Then cross multiply and divide again, and I'm realizing like, oh, I've got 1.62 times C is equal to 4.938. All right, so when I do this, and you know, I divide by 1.62, divide by 1.62, yes. And all I did was, since that number was the last number that I had in my calculator, I just continued just to divide that number by 1.62, and I got 3.048, which is equal to C, okay, which is approximately 3. Okay? Okay, Q. The answer should be A, as in, aren't you glad that you're back at school? No. Okay. This one wasn't too bad. All right, so Elena is conducting a study about the effects of toxins in the water on the hormones of fish. Elena surveys a total of 350 male fish, okay, in a river, finds that 150 of the males have egg cells growing inside them, okay, so 150 have egg cells, okay, cells, okay. According to Atlantis survey, what is the ratio of male fish with egg cells to male fish without egg cells? All right. So if you have 300 total fish, 150 of them have egg cells. How many don't have egg cells? 200. So 200 don't have egg cells. Yep. So if I'm finding the ratio of those, and you can do this a couple of different ways, you can write it as, so the ratio with egg cells, so 150 to not egg cells is over 200. Each of these numbers are divisible by the number 50, which then gives you 3/4 or 3 to 4. Okay? So, and that's another thing, is maybe you got tripped up on what the ratio means with the colon. All right? So, for every 3 fish that you have with egg cells, there's 4 that don't have egg cells. That's a hard one because they're talking about egg cells, not egg shells. Okay. What I want you to see here is that my way of going about these problems is, do I make it look easy?
Yeah.
When I'm doing this stuff? Number one, I've done a ton of these problems. All right? The other thing is that all I'm doing is reading the questions. Do you know how many times I read this question?
A lot.
2.5 times. Before I understood what it was asking me to do. That's a strategy that you have to think about. That's what helps me understand the problem. I have to read it. I actually have to physically do it. Okay? It is what it is. Some of these are hard, and they're kind of tricky. All right? But, it wasn't until the very, very last question on this. What is the ratio of male eggs with egg cells to male fish without egg cells? So I had this number. I had to figure out this number, which didn't take much. And then, this one didn't even involve a calculator. I didn't have to use one. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the last one, then we'll be done for the day. 2080.
Whatever, I did it in my head.
Okay,
If I could.
so,
I did pretty good.
all right, again, all I'm doing is reading, okay? The ratio of the amount of vitamin A in cow milk to the amount of vitamin A in goat milk is 3 to 4, okay? So what I did was cow over goat is what I wrote, all right? Because that's how it was read.
Who would win, a cow or a goat?
A goat. A goat, bro.
Easily count.
Yeah. A goat.
Shh, I'm recording. So all I did was, it says cow to goat. That helped me write this out. So then I did 3 to 4, okay? And then I wrote out 1560, because that's cow, 1560 over x. And all I did was set up a proportion. So 3x is equal to 4 times 1560. I did the math. Oh gosh, what do you get? 4 times 1560 4 times 1560 is 6,240. So 3x is equal to 6,240. Divide both sides by 3, and you get 2,080. Anybody do it differently than me? Yeah, that's what he did.
I don't get this though.
So, okay, good question. All right, so what you can do,
Wait, 3/4, right? And we're trying to figure out what. Hold up. Okay, let me do this real quick. So this is how much cow milk, right?
this is the amount of cow milk.
And it's 3/4.
The simplified ratio is 3 to 4.
1/4 of this in my head, that's 515
And multiply it by,
by 4.
yeah.
75.
Wait, what? How'd you do it?
15. Look. All right. So listen. 515 is 1/4.
Okay.
So 4 1/4s is 2,075. I did it all in my head. It's not 2,080. You guys are wrong.
No.
No.
Why would it be 2075?
Because 1/4 of 1/4. So look, 1/4 of this.
But so what you're doing is, and this is good, okay? You can what some of you guys, it's a third. The 1/4 is being applied to the 3. You would have to take a fourth of this number and then multiply it by 3. That's what you need to do.
I thought I wanted the whole.
Yeah, and a lot of you guys are doing this. A lot of you guys are saying, I took 1560 divided by 3,
It's weirdly 5.
and you get x over 4. Guys, this is the same proportion. Okay? You can write proportions however you want, as long as they go from one side to the next. Doesn't matter. And you can do, and I'm doing the same thing. And when and if you have this equation and you're solving it for x, besides, cross multiplying, you could simply just multiply both sides by 4 on that. The 4's divide out, and you have that x is equal to 4 times 1560 over 3. Good.
Wow.
All right.